If you are shopping for a home in the Treasure Valley right now, there is a good chance you are about to overpay for yesterday's growth. Because when you ask where to buy, everybody gives you the same three answers: Eagle, Meridian, and Star. And those three answers are about 5 years late. The real money has already pivoted east to a stretch of high desert off Interstate 84 that most of you have never driven past on purpose. But it's only 18 minutes from Micron. It's 900 acres of new industrial land just announced. 2 master plan communities with more than 10,000 homes planned, and a proposed casino right in the middle of it. I call what is happening out there the Micron migration. The jobs are moving east and the housing is chasing them. Now, I could make a fast commission selling you a lot out there on this hype. Instead, I'm going to show you the one project you can actually buy today, and the 3 that will cost you if you believe just the brochure. Now, I do make money when you buy a house in this valley, but I would rather earn it. So here is the roadmap. We are going to look at why the growth has pivoted east, and we're going to look at the 4 projects that are driving that growth, the traps that cost you if you buy the hype instead of the house, and 3 ways to play it depending on your budget. So let's get to work. So why east? Why not keep chasing Eagle and Meridian like everyone else? Well, that can be done in one word: Micron. Micron is putting roughly $50 billion into 2 new chip plants on Federal Way in Boise. So let that number land for a minute. $50 billion. The company says that expansion is expected to create more than 17,000 new jobs in Idaho. The first plant is being finished currently, and chip production starts in 2027. So here is the part nobody connects for you. A chip plant does not run on its own. It needs suppliers, and those suppliers need buildings and people, and those people need somewhere to live that they can actually afford. So picture a worker who just got hired at one of those plants. They are not going to fight Eagle Road every morning from a $500,000 starter lot 30 minutes the wrong direction. They are going to look east toward the job where the dirt is still cheap enough to build on. And that is the Micron migration. If you grew up in this valley, I want to talk to you for a second because I live here too, and I know how this feels. We have watched Eagle and Meridian get priced right out from under us, and now we are watching another wave come in. So I want to be honest about it instead of giving you just a talking point. More people want to live in this valley than we actually have homes for, and a lot of that demand is coming from out of state: California, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Texas. I am not going to stand here and pretend that it's not real, but we also spent 20 years not building enough to keep up. Both of those things are true at the same time. So if you feel like you're getting priced out of your own hometown, you're not imagining it. And the East Corridor is one of the few places left where a local can still get in before the prices catch up. Now, if you are the one moving here, I want you to hear that part, not feel attacked by it. When a local seems a little cool about all the growth, it is almost never about you personally. It is about watching the town they grew up in get expensive enough that their own kids might not be able to stay. Once you understand that, you are already a better neighbor than half the people who have lived here for years. So you're welcome here, and I do mean that. This valley has always made room for new neighbors, but please do this one thing. Fall in love with what makes this place special instead of trying to turn it into the place you left. Here we love our open space, we love the slower pace, and the way strangers will still wave at you on a back road. The best neighbors I work with didn't come to change Idaho. They came because they loved it the way it already is. Now, here is what I am doing with all of this. When a buyer calls me, I don't start with a subdivision. I start with where the job is, and then I back into the map from there. That is the whole idea behind a free tool my team and I built called the Treasure Valley Relocation Audit. It is going to run you through the same 3 plays I am going to lay out later in this video, and it will help you figure out which one is actually yours. It is free, it is in the description, and it works whether you are moving in here or you have been here your whole life. So there are 4 projects that are driving this whole thing, and I am starting with the only one you can actually write an offer on this month, because the other 3 each come with a catch. It is called Mayfield Springs. Now, this is a 760-acre planned community off exit 71 near the Boise stage stop. 15 miles from Boise, it's about a 20-minute drive to Micron. Now, phase 1 is not a rendering. It is breaking ground and closing on actual homes right now. You have 4 builders out there: Riverwood, Eaglewood, Venta, and Biltmore. Now, when I last pulled pricing, new homes in there were running from the high 400s up into the 700s, depending on the plan and the lot. Now, here is a detail a builder's agent might gloss over. There is an HOA out there, and there are community fees on top of that HOA. Now, this is not a deal breaker, but you need the real monthly numbers in writing before you budget, not after you close. And ask one question almost nobody thinks to ask: what am I paying for irrigation and water out here? Now, in a lot of these Treasure Valley developments, irrigation is a separate assessment from your HOA. Now, it is not huge, but it is real, and it can catch people every single time. Now, one more number almost nobody checks until they are already under contract: your homeowner's insurance. Because Mayfield Springs is high desert rangeland, there is open grass and sagebrush, and all of that dries out every single summer. So that is the kind of ground that carries real wildfire risk, and carriers across the West have gotten stricter about it. So get a real insurance quote on the exact address before you sign, and not a ballpark. Your HOA, your irrigation, and your insurance all hit the same monthly payment you have to live with. There are also going to be parks, trails, and a town center planned for Mayfield Springs. Now, planned, I want you to write that word down. It is about to cost somebody a lot of money. So here is something that a lot of agents won't slow down to explain. Right next to Mayfield Springs is something with almost the same name: the Mayfield Townsite. Now, on paper, it is approved for up to 15,000 homes. So that number gets thrown around in blog posts and builder Instagram like it is about to happen. Let me tell you what is actually true. That approval is from 2011. The build out is not expected for decades. Today, it is still high desert. An approval is not a neighborhood. And here is how that quietly can trip people up. The 2 names are almost identical. So a buyer hears 15,000 homes and assumes it is all about to fill in right next to Mayfield Springs. Then they talk themselves into paying a little more for a Springs lot today, betting the Townsite booms and doubles their money. Well, that bet is a fantasy. You would be paying today for dirt that might not become a neighborhood for 30 years. So here is the honest version. The real reason to buy in Mayfield Springs is simple: a quiet, brand new community with a short drive to one of the biggest employers in the state. And that can stand completely on its own. Just do not pay extra today for 15,000 homes that may not be coming anytime soon. So when I walk a buyer through this area, I keep the 2 straight for them. Springs is real, and you can buy it today. Townsite is someday, and you should never pay for a someday. Now, 2 more projects are fueling all of this. One is already moving dirt. The other could change the entire corridor if it ever gets approved. This is the announcement that kicked all of this off. A developer named Alquist, partnering with the Coeur d'Alene tribe, announced a 900-acre project called Paragrine. It sits right at Interstate 84 and Simcoe Road. And the developer said the quiet part out loud. It is built for Micron suppliers because it is a straight shot down the freeway to the plants. The developer also says the water rights are already secured. And that matters more out here than almost anywhere. Water is the whole ball game in this corridor, and we are going to come back to that. Right next to Paragrine, the Shoshone Paiute tribes have proposed a resort and casino on 40 acres. And I'm going to be precise with the word. It is proposed, not approved. It still needs a sign off from the federal government, the governor, and the county. So I'm not here to tell you whether a casino is a good thing or a bad thing. I am here to tell you what it does to real estate. If that approval clears, the commercial demand out here is going to accelerate fast. So I watch the approval calendar, not the hype, because there is a big difference between a groundbreaking and a press release. My team and I have spent the last year building the Treasure Valley Red Zone map. It is a free interactive map of every zone in the Treasure Valley you should know about before you sign anything. It's going to cover the flood zones, the wildfire risk, airport noise, and the Eagle Road commute stack, the Kuna fly zone in September, and the stretch of Garden City that floods when the Boise River comes up. So same instinct, same map, it's just gonna have more layers. The longer I keep doing this job, we just keep adding more layers to this map. So grab it in the description. It is free. Use it before you tour any property in the Treasure Valley. Now, there is one more piece that changes the math for the entire west side of this valley, and it is a single road. You probably already guessed it, State Highway 16. This is the first brand new freeway this valley has built in more than 4 decades, 40 years in one of the fastest growing regions in the country. It is a limited access freeway running north and south between Interstate 84 and State Highway 44. And it is opening in 2027, a full year ahead of the original schedule. So here is what that actually means for your commute. Right now, if you live in Star and you need to get to the interstate, you crawl through the Eagle backup just like everyone else. You sit, you tap the wheel, you watch the clock. But after 2027, you will skip that. Star, by the way, is one of the fastest growing cities in the entire state. That new freeway on-ramp does not make that slow down. So here is my advice. If you buy near that future interchange now, while it is still a construction zone, you are buying before the easier commute gets priced in. Once that road opens and the drive gets easy, everyone can see what you saw and the deal is gone. And someone with a lot more money than me already sees it. Let me show you who just planted a flag out there. So the East Corridor is not the only place this map is moving. Over on the North Meridian and Star side, one of the most established builders in the valley just made a move. Brighton is planning a community they call Basque Ranch. More than 470 acres, right up against the Star City limits with roughly 570 homes on the plan. Now, same lesson as the Townsite. This is a pre-application, the very first step with the city. And projects this early do not always become real. So don't go shopping for a Brighton home out there this weekend. There is not one. But when a builder that established buys that much ground next to Star, right as a brand new freeway opens, we have to pay attention. That is how you read a market before it shows up in the price tags. And one piece of that plan puts a big new park in the Boise River floodplain. Hold on to that word, floodplain. We're coming back to it. But first, we need to talk about the thing everybody gets wrong about buying in a cheaper county, and that is your tax bill. Here's what catches people. You see a new community in a smaller, more rural county, and your brain says cheaper county, cheaper taxes. I don't want you to guess on this because it does not always work that way. Your property tax is not set by the county name. It is set by the levy, and that levy is the stack of every local district that taxes that exact parcel. So we are talking about the school district, the fire district, and any special districts that pays for the new roads and the new pipes in a brand new development. Here's the part that can surprise people. A brand new community often carries a higher levy, not a lower one. So somebody has to pay for those new schools and that new infrastructure, and that somebody, you guessed it, the homeowner. So when a builder's agent tells you the taxes are lower out here, that is the exact moment to stop and verify. This is the part where we have to get specific. So before you write an offer, pull the actual levy rate for the actual taxing district that the house sits in, not the county average. You need the parcel. And that one step is the difference between the payment you plan for and the payment you're going to actually get. And it is the kind of thing that we do on every single deal. Let me be straight with you because this matters and I am not going to oversell it. Growth out east is gated by one thing above all else, and that is water. Now, in April, the governor signed an emergency drought declaration for all 44 counties in Idaho. It followed the second warmest winter on record and a record low snowpack. So the aquifer that supplies this eastern stretch is under real stress. The state committed $8 million this spring to start stabilizing it. So that's the good news, but it is not a guarantee. So if I'm going to stand here and tell you the good, I have to tell you this too. Before you buy, please confirm the development's water is documented and secured. Never assume it. And the second thing is you have to look at the schools. You might hear that Mayfield Springs has a school. It does not. So currently what they actually have is a partnership with a local charter school, Gem Prep Academy. So the schooling will be done online and Gem Prep will come to meet with the kids at the community center a couple times a week. So I just want to be clear that this is not the same as a neighborhood school. So if that does not sound like a good fit for your family, Mayfield Springs will be busing kids to the Mountain Home School District, or you can take your kids to a school in the Boise district. So if schools are driving your decision, you need to get the real current setup in writing. Do not take a brochure's word for it. And third, everything we talked about that is still proposed can still fall through. So the casino needs approvals. It does not have yet. The Townsite is still dirt. Approval is not construction. And one last thing on all of this. Some of these new east side and west side parcels sit on floodplain edges in higher wildfire exposure or up against open public land. So my team and I have built something called the Treasure Valley Red Zone map that shows you exactly where those lines are. It's free, it is in the description, and if you are shopping new construction out there, grab it before you fall in love with a lot. So here's the only question left that matters. Is this corridor actually right for you? I am going to break this into 3 plays. I'm sorting these by budget and commute. Nothing else, just budget and commute. So play number 1. If your budget is under $400,000, well, your best move right now is Northwest Caldwell or waiting for the entry tier lots in Mayfield Springs Phase 1. The trade is simple. You accept a 20 to 30 minute commute. In exchange, you get into a house without stretching until it hurts. Now, play number 2. Your budget is roughly $500,000 to $650,000 and your job is tied to that east side corridor. Well, Mayfield Springs is built for you. A new home and a 20-minute drive to the plans. Do your homework on the levy and the HOA fees before you sign. And lastly, play number 3. Your budget runs higher and you want a new build with the incentives stacked in your favor. North Meridian and the aging spec inventory on Eagle's Edges are where builders are dealing right now. And anytime we talk about a builder rate buy down or specific loan numbers, again, that is not my lane. That is my lending partner, Joshua Connell at Paradigm Mortgage. He will run the numbers. I will find the house that they fit. One caveat on all 3 of these. I sorted them by budget and commute only. Your real fit depends on half a dozen things I cannot know from a YouTube video, which is exactly why my team and I built the next thing. My team and I put together a Treasure Valley relocation audit. It is going to run you through the exact 3 plays and help you figure out which one is actually yours. It is free and it is in the description. Now, if you're a local, it's for you as well. Maybe you are selling a starter home in Nampa and trying to decide if you chase the East Corridor or stay put. And maybe you grew up here, you've gotten priced out of Eagle, and this is your first real shot at new construction. Maybe you are sitting on a pile of equity in an older Ada County neighborhood and wondering what to do with it. The audit works for you just as well as it works for someone moving in from out of state. Here is what I tell buyers who ask me where to look. Forget which subdivision is hottest this week, just follow 3 arrows. Where the road dollars are going, where the chip dollars are going, and where the water is documented. Right now, all 3 arrows are pointing east, and that is the Micron migration. The growth is real, the opportunity is real, and the traps are also just as real. So do not pay for the fantasy version of any of this. I'm Rachel with Good News Realty Group. I will not let you overpay for dirt with only a permit on it, and I'll see you in the next one.